Britain is broken and the vast majority of people in this country are utterly sick and tired of politics and the army of politicians running the country. The latest scandal where honest hard-working postmasters and mistresses were jailed at the hands of highly paid executives and others thrown under the bus, typify two-tier Britain. The minister in charge of overseeing the post office left his job, pocketed £800 an hour from a law firm hired by the post office, collected a knighthood, and now runs a major political party in his spare time. Take a bow, Sir Ed. Distrust in our politicians and institutions have fallen to an all-time low. The British elite, engaged in politics, the civil service and corporate business are milking the taxpayer, like a giant squid on its face. Huge bonuses, undeserved honours, and preferment of third-rate people. The PPE scandal is a heady mix of corruption, donors, so-called VIP lines, and unknown billions of wasted cash, spaffed up against the Treasury wall, as Boris might have said. The country is broke. Capitalism has been replaced with corporatism, cronyism, the hollowing out of the lives of ordinary working people. The average person, even on a decent salary, might as well be indentured labor, working for the state. Tax rates have soared to a 70-year high, and the impact of inflation means just making ends meet is almost impossible but for the gilded few. If you are lucky enough to be wealthy, the government through quantitative easing and printing money has inflated your assets property, way above inflation. They have rewarded the very people that didn't need help while destroying the prospects of ordinary working people. Home ownership is cratering, after all. Unless you have a rich mummy or daddy, it is prohibitively expensive to buy a property, and after all the taxes and bills are paid, there isn't much left to save for a deposit. The huge influx of immigration means there just isn't enough property to supply demand. Rent soars. The Conservative Party's obsession with unlimited open-door immigration, the strain on infrastructure, schools, hospitals, GP surgeries, and almost every other service is intolerable and unaffordable. What is needed is a fundamental reform of the entire political and civil service system. The recent rise of the Reform Party in the polls has shown that there is public appetite for change. It is remarkable that a party with limited brand awareness has hit 10% in the polls and is threatening to cause an extinction-level event for the Conservative Party. Nigel Farage has often complained that the first-past-the-post system makes it impossible to compete with the two main parties, and despite stunning success with both UKIP and the Brexit Party, that changed the course of history, he has failed to break into the Westminster cartel. The remarkable poll shows that the seat of Clacton might be able to change that dynamic. Nigel enjoys a 10-point lead over Giles Watling, a prominent Remain supporting Conservative MP, in one of the most strongly Brexit voting seats in the country. By some estimates, the national support for reform would increase to 20%, if Nigel returned as leader, winning votes from both parties. Sir Keir beware, working-class Labour voters love Nigel. He could smash the red wall right in. In fact, the poll shows that the Reform vote nearly doubles with Nigel as the candidate in Clacton. The Labour Party have a 24% lead in the national polls, but their support is a mile wide and an inch thick. There is no enthusiasm for Sir Keir or Labour. The public realise it will be business as usual, just with a different coloured sign over the shop, but they won't vote Conservative, and who can blame